Sara Akbar, Chairperson and CEO of OiLSERV Kuwait and Non-Executive Director of Petrofac. Sara, it's great to see you again, and I hope all is well. I wanted to kick off by asking you your thoughts on the OPEC World Oil Outlook yesterday, um, which is obviously a mid and long-term forecast. Very, very bullish outlook to 2050, where it sees oil demand growing by nearly 20 million barrels a day above 2023 levels, which is last year. And in the interim, sort of see as much as that 10 million of that coming in this decade alone. These are very, very ambitious targets. They're totally out of line with not only other multilateral agencies, but ExxonMobil, even, you would imagine, who are in the bullish zone of oil production. So I just wanted to get your initial reactions to that World Oil Report, which of course comes out every year. It's a very important research document.
Good morning, Sean. It's nice to be back, on this podcast. Yeah, I thought the report actually is, if you remember the last forecast they had versus this forecast, it's only like 3 million above the previous forecast they had. So they have not gone beyond the initial assumptions they had in the reports from before, which I believe are very, very realistic. If you look back, you will see that OPEC almost every time got it right whenever they had forecasts. And because they actually look so much into the details and factor in a lot of the uncertainties as well that we see in the market. For example, currently the world is looking, the substitution for oil and gas is renewables and electrical cars and all of that. But we know for sure, under this current environment of change and environmental change and the aggressiveness of the environment, you cannot rely totally on those sources for energy. And the only reliable source that you can utilize under all circumstances is oil and gas. And as you know, even the environment is becoming more vicious all the time. So what will give you the reliable source of energy with all the growth that is expected in the world economically, the population, and all the requirements for energy? The only source that is really reliable is oil and gas. And this is one of the elements that being considered to compensate for all the investment that is going really into the renewable. And if you notice, last year, it was the first year where investment in renewable surpassed the oil and gas. And I think this report, the main element that you should take from this report is we should keep investing in oil and gas because that will stabilize the market, that will stabilize world economy. And like I said before in every podcast, the role of OPEC in all of this is providing security of supply and security for energy for all. And this is part of the security to ensure that we are timely investing in oil and gas so that we can deliver these results to the world. So this report falls directly into that line of thinking. And I think it is very valid report, and I believe OPEC. I believe what they do. It's not just a marketing document that they use or based on. It is a serious report that they are driving people into investing in oil and gas so that we secure the energy supply to the world, secure a reliable source of energy to the world, and that's the most important word in this report.
Sara, just coming back to the current period that we are now in, obviously September has been a rather volatile month for oil markets. We saw at the beginning of the month Brent through August dropping and earlier in September below 70 close. Now we got back above 75 yesterday on the close. Your thoughts on what are the dynamics currently impacting the market and what do you think will give it direction as we now go into the fourth quarter?
Well, Sean, I remember 2014, we were in a situation very similar to where we are today. So OPEC has closed capacity at this point in time because they're trying, like I said, to stabilize the market. But at the same time, you have a lot of supply coming out of Latin America, the US, and elsewhere that is taking all the growth that is coming. So OPEC is sitting at the point where they are thinking, should we go back to that kind of environment, 2014, where we had the same story with the shale oil from the US, and if everyone remembers what happened after that. So at this point in time, we are living a similar kind of environment where OPEC is restraining themselves, where all the extra capacity, all the benefit from the stabilization of this market at these levels is gained by other entities that are not part of this OPEC plus story. So that's, so that's what's driving them to think, oh, early next year, we should put back some of that closed capacity into the market, especially with countries like Iraq, like UAE, like the Saudis. I think we may be coming to a similar situation, which means that probably next year will be a suppressed market for the oil and gas simply because of these facts. And if you remember what happened after 2014, a lot of the shale production in the US went down and the investment went down, and then they had slowly and it goes down fast, it comes up very slow. So that's the kind of cycle we are going into. And I think that is the kind of environment we are living in. But, this is really complicated by the geopolitics of the region. And I really don't know where we are going with this war with Lebanon and this, I see, many countries in the region dragged into this war as well.
Looking out to the regional development and that scale of we're seeing, capacity building going on in the Gulf, obviously most notably in the UAE in recent years, but now also in Kuwait. Given those demand growth numbers, what is your outlook for sort of field operations? I mean, you'll be very busy.
Right. So everybody is very busy and throughout the region. The activity level has really dramatically increased in Kuwait, and we see that in UAE as well. Now, the story is a little bit different in Saudi because since they have reduced their target by about 1 million barrels, so they are completely focusing on gas development. So there is lots of activity going into the gas fields, but really the oil fields are really being shrunk. The activity level has been shrinking. The activity level in Iraq has been increasing as well because, the new licensing rounds they have given out and the efforts they have in maintaining and increasing production is continuing. So as you imagine, the national oil companies of the region are still busy. Their plans has not changed except for the Saudi change in the forecast actually in their target. So the target has gone down. But other than that, all the rest of the companies or the rest of the countries in the region either are increasing level of activity or maintaining the same level. And this has been typically the behavior throughout all the cycles. It's never affected the national oil companies. They have targets. It's a long-term target, and they just work towards it no matter what changes in the market. The flexibility they have, the buffer they have there is huge. So and that's what we are seeing